What if I told you that right now, flying high above our heads, there are machines so advanced that they seem to break the very laws of nature? Aircraft that can disappear from radar as if by magic, jets that can fly without pilots, planes that can stop in midair, flip around, and continue flying as if gravity simply doesn't apply to them. These aren't science fiction fantasies or top-secret alien technology. They're very real American military jets, designed and built by human engineers using materials found right here on Earth. Yet their capabilities are so extraordinary that they appear to defy the basic principles of physics. Today, we're counting down the top 10 US military jets that defy physics, aircraft that push the boundaries of what seems possible and represent the absolute pinnacle of American aerospace engineering and military might. From invisible bombers to hypersonic aircraft that can circle the globe in hours, these technological marvels don't just protect our nation, they redefine what we thought was possible in the realm of flight. So buckle up and prepare for takeoff as we explore these incredible machines that make the impossible possible. Jet number 10, F-15 EAGLE. Let's begin our countdown with an aircraft that changed the game when it first took to the skies, the legendary F-15 EAGLE. Introduced in 1976, the F-15 Eagle was designed with one purpose in mind: to achieve and maintain complete air superiority. But what made this fighter truly special was its unprecedented thrust-to-weight ratio. You see, most aircraft struggle with a fundamental physics problem. The more powerful you make them, the heavier they become, which cancels out the extra power. But the F-15 shattered this limitation with engines so powerful that they actually produce more thrust than the entire weight of the aircraft. What does this mean in practical terms? The F-15 can accelerate while flying straight up, something that seems to defy gravity itself. During testing, an F-15 set a world record by climbing to 30,000 feet in just 60 seconds. To put that in perspective, commercial airliners typically take about 15 minutes to reach that altitude. But the Eagle's defiance of physics doesn't stop there. In 1983, an Israeli F-15 was involved in a mid-air collision that tore off its entire right wing. According to all known principles of aerodynamics, the aircraft should have immediately spun out of control and crashed. Instead, the skilled pilot managed to maintain control and safely land the aircraft, despite missing half of its lift surfaces. Engineers were so baffled by this seemingly impossible feat that they initially didn't believe the pilot's report until they saw the damaged aircraft with their own eyes. The F-15's remarkable design had somehow compensated for the catastrophic damage, allowing it to fly in a condition that physics suggested should be impossible. Even today, nearly 50 years after its introduction, upgraded versions of the F-15 remain among the most formidable fighter jets in the world, a testament to its revolutionary design that continues to push the boundaries of aeronautical physics. Jet number 9, V-22 Osprey. At number 9, we have an aircraft that doesn't just push the boundaries of physics, it lives in two entirely different worlds of flight. The V-22 Osprey. The Osprey isn't just an airplane, it isn't just a helicopter, it's both, and that's what makes it so revolutionary. For over a century, aircraft designers faced an impossible choice: build planes that fly fast and far but need runways, or build helicopters that can take off vertically but sacrifice speed and range. The laws of aerodynamics suggested you simply couldn't have both in one aircraft. The V-22 Osprey changed all that with its tiltrotor technology. Its massive propellers can rotate 90 degrees, allowing it to take off like a helicopter and then transition to forward flight like an airplane, essentially transforming mid-air. This seemingly simple concept required solving incredibly complex engineering challenges. The rotors must generate enough lift for vertical takeoff while also functioning as propellers for forward flight. The transition phase between these two modes involves aerodynamic forces that are so complex they require decades of development to master. When in airplane mode, the Osprey can cruise at over 300 miles per hour, twice the speed of conventional helicopters. Yet it can land in areas as small as a tennis court. This capability allows Marines to be deployed deep behind enemy lines without needing conventional airfields, fundamentally changing how military operations can be conducted. The Osprey's development wasn't without challenges. Early prototypes suffered fatal crashes, and critics claimed the concept was fundamentally flawed. But engineers persisted, and today, the Osprey stands as proof that with enough innovation, even the most fundamental limitations in aircraft design can be overcome. Jet number 8, U-2 Dragon Lady. Our number 8 aircraft takes us to the very edge of space, operating in an environment so extreme that it challenges our understanding of atmospheric flight. The U-2 Dragon Lady. Designed in the 1950s during the height of the Cold War, the U-2 was built to fly higher than any other aircraft, beyond the reach of Soviet fighters and missiles. Even today, it routinely operates above 70,000 feet, an altitude so extreme that pilots must wear full pressure suits similar to those used by astronauts. At these altitudes, the air is so thin that the margin between the speed at which the wings stall, too slow, and the speed at which the aircraft breaks apart, too fast, narrows to just a few knots, a region pilots ominously call the coffin corner. Flying the U-2 means constantly balancing on this knife edge, where a moment's inattention could be fatal. To generate sufficient lift in the thin upper atmosphere, the U-2 was given enormous glider-like wings that span 103 feet. These wings are so efficient that the aircraft can glide for hundreds of miles if its engine fails, but they also make it notoriously difficult to land. Friends, the story of American aerospace innovation is one of dedication, ingenuity, and brave test pilots pushing the boundaries of what's possible. If you appreciate this deep dive into these remarkable aircraft and want to support our work, bringing you more exclusive content about military technology, please consider joining our Patreon community. The link is in the description below. Now, let's continue our journey with another remarkable aircraft. The U-2's ability to loiter at extreme altitudes for over 12 hours gives it capabilities that even modern satellites can't match. While satellites follow fixed orbits, the U-2 can be directed to specific areas of interest and maintain station there, providing real-time intelligence that has proven invaluable in conflicts from the Cold War to modern counterterrorism operations. Perhaps the most remarkable thing about the U-2 is its longevity. Despite being designed over 65 years ago, this aircraft remains in active service today because its unique combination of altitude, range, and sensor capabilities still cannot be fully replicated by any other platform. Jet number 7, FA-18 Super Hornet. At number 7, we have the backbone of American naval aviation, an aircraft that must routinely perform what seems physically impossible. The FA-18 Super Hornet. Naval aviation presents unique challenges that push the limits of aircraft design. The Super Hornet must be capable of both fighter and attack missions, operate in corrosive maritime environments, and most impressively, take off from and land on a moving aircraft carrier, a feat that has been compared to trying to parallel park a car on a moving train. Carrier landings require the Super Hornet to transition from supersonic flight to touching down at just over 100 knots in seconds, slamming onto the deck with enough force to crack the landing gear of a commercial aircraft. To survive this punishment, the Super Hornet structure must be incredibly robust while remaining light enough for high-performance flight. The physics of carrier takeoffs are equally challenging. Without the luxury of a long runway, the Super Hornet relies on steam or electromagnetic catapults that accelerate the aircraft from 0 to 170 miles per hour in just 2 seconds, subjecting pilots to forces that feel like being rear-ended by a truck. What truly sets the Super Hornet apart is its ability to operate in blue water conditions, taking off and landing in rough seas, high winds, and zero visibility. The aircraft's sophisticated flight control systems allow pilots to maintain precise control even in these extreme conditions, making possible landings that seem to defy the basic physics of flight. The Super Hornet's versatility extends to its combat capabilities as well. It can transition from air superiority missions to precision ground attack without returning to the carrier, carrying up to 17,750 pounds of weapons and external fuel tanks. This multi-role capability allows a single aircraft type to perform missions that previously required several specialized platforms. In many ways, the Super Hornet represents the pinnacle of conventional jet fighter design, pushing existing technologies to their absolute limits to create an aircraft that can operate effectively from the most challenging environment on Earth, the pitching deck of an aircraft carrier in the middle of the ocean. Jet number 6, SR-71, Blackbird number 6 on our list, is an aircraft that still holds speed records decades after its retirement, a machine so advanced that many of its capabilities remain classified to this day. The legendary SR-71 Blackbird. Designed in the 1960s, the SR-71 could fly faster than a rifle bullet at over 2,200 miles per hour, more than 3 times the speed of sound. This wasn't just a brief capability. The Blackbird could sustain these speeds for hours, crossing continents and oceans in a fraction of the time required by other aircraft. At such extreme speeds, the physics problems become truly extraordinary. Air resistance caused the Blackbird's skin temperature to reach over 500 degrees Fahrenheit in flight, hot enough to soften aluminum. To solve this problem, engineers constructed the airframe primarily from titanium, a metal so difficult to work with that new manufacturing techniques had to be invented. The heat created another seemingly unsolvable problem: thermal expansion. At cruising speed, the Blackbird's structure would expand by several inches. Engineers had to design the aircraft to leak fuel while on the ground, as the fuel tanks would only seal properly once the airframe heated up and expanded at high speeds. Even the engines represented a radical departure from conventional design. At high speeds, the J-58 engines functioned more like ramjets than traditional turbojets, with the afterburner becoming an integral part of the propulsion system rather than just an occasional power boost. This unique hybrid propulsion system actually became more efficient the faster the aircraft flew, completely contrary to how conventional jet engines operate. If you've ever seen one of these magnificent Blackbirds in a museum, type Mach 3 in the comments. The SR-71's primary defense against enemy threats wasn't weapons. It was simply its combination of speed and altitude. When Soviet surface-to-air missiles were fired at the Blackbird, pilots would simply accelerate, outrunning the missiles that were designed to shoot down much slower bombers and fighters. Over its operational life, no Blackbird was ever lost to enemy action, an unparalleled safety record for a reconnaissance aircraft regularly flying over hostile territory. The SR-71 remains the fastest air-breathing manned aircraft ever flown, a testament to what can be achieved when engineers refuse to accept the limitations of conventional thinking. Jet number 5, X-59 QSST. At number 5, we have an experimental aircraft designed to solve a problem that has plagued supersonic flight since the dawn of the jet age, the X-59 QSST, where QSST stands for Quiet Supersonic Technology. When an aircraft breaks the sound barrier, it creates powerful shockwaves that merge together to form the thunderous sonic boom that rattles windows and can even cause structural damage. This unavoidable consequence of supersonic flight led to restrictions that prevent civilian aircraft from flying faster than sound overpopulated areas, effectively killing commercial supersonic travel after the Concorde's retirement. The X-59 aims to rewrite the physics of supersonic flight with its unique elongated design. Rather than allowing shockwaves to merge into the typical N-wave pattern that creates the loud boom, the X-59's carefully shaped fuselage and control of airflow causes these waves to remain separated, reaching the ground as a series of much weaker thumps instead of a single explosive boom. To achieve this, engineers had to solve extraordinary design challenges. The aircraft's 100-foot-long needle-like nose creates visibility problems for pilots, solved with an innovative external vision system that uses cameras and displays to give the pilot a forward view. The entire airframe had to be precisely shaped to control how shockwaves form and propagate around the aircraft, a task requiring computational fluid dynamics models so complex they could only run on supercomputers. If successful, the X-59 could revolutionize air travel by allowing supersonic flight over land without disturbing those below. Imagine flying from New York to Los Angeles in just 2 hours instead of 5 to 6 hours, without rattling a single window on the ground below. The X-59 represents a different kind of boundary pushing, not just flying higher or faster, but fundamentally changing the physics of how an aircraft interacts with the atmosphere. This approach could finally unlock the potential of supersonic travel that has remained tantalizingly out of reach, despite being technically possible for over 70 years. Jet number 4, F-35 Lightning II. Our number 4 aircraft is perhaps the most advanced fighter jet ever built, not because it breaks any single performance record, but because it integrates technologies that would have seemed like science fiction just decades ago. The F-35 Lightning II. The F-35 doesn't just push the boundaries of aerodynamics, it fundamentally changes how pilots interact with their aircraft and the battle space around them. The most revolutionary aspect is the F-35's sensor fusion capability, which combines data from radar, infrared sensors, electronic warfare systems, and a network of other aircraft and ground units into a single integrated picture of the battlefield. This capability is displayed through the pilot's helmet-mounted display system, a technological marvel that allows pilots to see through the aircraft. By projecting imagery from cameras mounted around the airframe, pilots can look down and effectively see through the floor of the cockpit, giving them unprecedented situational awareness. The helmet also displays target information, flight data, and threats, allowing pilots to simply look at an enemy aircraft to lock weapons onto it. The F-35's stealth capabilities are equally impressive. Unlike earlier stealth aircraft that had significant performance limitations, the F-35 combines its radar-evading design with fighter-like agility and supersonic speed. Its external shape, internal weapons bays, and special coatings work together to make it virtually invisible to conventional radar systems, even when carrying a full load of weapons. Perhaps most remarkably, the F-35 functions as a flying computer network. Each aircraft can serve as an information node, collecting and distributing data to other platforms. This means that even non-stealth aircraft operating alongside the F-35 benefit from its advanced sensors, creating a multiplier effect that changes the dynamics of aerial warfare. The computing power inside the F-35 exceeds that of many supercomputers from the early 2000s. The aircraft's software contains over 8 million lines of code, 4 times more than the F-22 Raptor. This computing capability allows the F-35 to process information and identify threats faster than any human operator could, giving pilots critical extra seconds to make tactical decisions. While earlier aircraft on our list defied physics through raw speed or maneuverability, the F-35 represents a different kind of revolution, one that uses digital technology to create capabilities that would have been impossible just a generation ago. Jet number 3, B-2 Spirit. At number 3, we have an aircraft that seems to simply disappear from radar screens, a flying wing bomber with the radar signature of a small bird despite its massive size. The B-2 Spirit. When the B-2 was unveiled to the public in 1988, it looked like nothing else in the skies. Its smooth flying wing design with no vertical surfaces seemed almost alien. But this radical shape wasn't chosen for aesthetics. It was the result of intensive computer modeling to minimize radar reflection. The physics principles behind stealth are relatively straightforward. Shape the aircraft to redirect radar energy away from the receiver rather than back to it. But implementing these principles in a functional bomber was extraordinarily difficult. Every aspect of the B-2's design contributes to its stealth. The smooth, curved surfaces reduce radar reflections. The engines are buried deep within the wing to hide their hot exhaust and fan blades from infrared sensors and radar. Even the control surfaces are designed to preserve the aircraft's stealth characteristics during flight maneuvers. The materials used in the B-2 are equally revolutionary. Special radar-absorbing coatings and composites trap radar energy and convert it to heat rather than reflecting it back. These materials require such precise application that special climate-controlled hangars had to be built just to maintain them. The result of these technologies is an aircraft with a radar cross-section reportedly similar to that of a small bird or large insect, despite having a wingspan of 172 feet, larger than many commercial airliners. This capability allows the B-2 to penetrate the most sophisticated air defense networks and deliver precision strikes with minimal risk of detection. Beyond its stealth capabilities, the B-2's flying wing design provides exceptional range and efficiency. It can fly over 6,000 miles without refueling, enough to reach targets anywhere in the world from bases in the United States. During Operation Allied Force in Kosovo, B-2s flew 30-hour round-trip missions from Missouri to Yugoslavia, the longest bombing missions in history at that time. Perhaps most impressively, the B-2 can carry up to 16 2,400-pound nuclear bombs, enough destructive power to devastate multiple cities, yet remain virtually invisible to defensive systems. This combination of stealth, range, and payload makes the B-2 one of the most formidable strategic deterrents in history. Jet number 2, F-22 Raptor. At number 2, we have an aircraft that combines supersonic speed, undetectable stealth, and maneuverability that seems to violate the basic laws of aerodynamics. The F-22 Raptor. The F-22 is the world's first operational fifth-generation fighter, incorporating technologies so advanced that Congress prohibited its export, even to America's closest allies. What makes it truly special is not any single capability, but how it combines multiple revolutionary technologies into one airframe. The Raptor's most visually stunning capability is its super maneuverability, the ability to perform controlled maneuvers that would be impossible in conventional aircraft. Thanks to its powerful thrust-vectoring engines, the F-22 can perform the Cobra maneuver, where it pitches up 90 degrees or more while maintaining forward momentum. It can also execute the J-turn, rotating 180 degrees in the horizontal plane almost on the spot. These maneuvers are made possible by thrust vectoring, the ability to redirect engine exhaust independent of the aircraft's orientation. This technology, combined with computerized flight controls, allows the F-22 to maintain controlled flight at angles of attack exceeding 60 degrees, well beyond the stall angle of conventional aircraft. The F-22 can also supercruise, sustaining supersonic flight without using fuel-hungry afterburners. This ability dramatically extends its range and endurance at high speeds, allowing it to cover vast distances while maintaining a tactical advantage over enemies forced to use afterburners to match its speed. Like the B-2, the F-22 incorporates advanced stealth technology, but in a much more agile package. Its carefully shaped surfaces, internal weapons bays, and special materials give it a radar cross-section comparable to a metal marble, making it nearly impossible to track with conventional radar systems. In combat exercises, Fe-22s routinely achieve kill ratios exceeding 20-to-1 against the most advanced fourth-generation fighters. The combination of stealth, supercruise, and supermaneuverability allows Raptors to control when and where engagements occur, striking enemy aircraft before they even realize they're under attack. The F-22 represents the pinnacle of air superiority fighter design, pushing the boundaries of what's physically possible in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Its capabilities are so far beyond previous generations of fighters that it fundamentally changes the dynamics of aerial warfare. Jet number 1, F-117 Nighthawk. And now, our number 1 aircraft that seems to defy the laws of physics, the world's first operational stealth aircraft, and the platform that revolutionized modern warfare, the F-117 Nighthawk. When images of the F-117 first emerged in the late 1980s, many aviation experts claimed they were fake. The aircraft's bizarre, faceted shape with sharp angles and flat surfaces seemed completely contrary to conventional aerodynamic design. It looked more like a geometric abstract sculpture than a functional military jet. Yet this radical design wasn't arbitrary. It was the direct result of the computing limitations of the 1970s when the aircraft was developed. Engineers knew that a completely smooth curved surface would provide optimal stealth, but computers of that era couldn't calculate radar reflections from complex curves. Instead, they approximated curves with a series of flat panels carefully angled to redirect radar energy away from the source. The result was an aircraft that should not fly according to traditional aerodynamic principles. With its sharp edges and flat surfaces, The F-117 was inherently unstable. So unstable that pilots couldn't fly it without the aid of a quadruple redundant fly-by-wire computer system that made constant adjustments to keep the aircraft in the air. Despite these challenges, the F-117 proved devastatingly effective in combat. During the 1991 Gulf War, Nighthawks flew into the heart of Baghdad, the most heavily defended airspace on Earth at that time, and struck targets with impunity. Iraqi air defenses, among the most sophisticated in the world, were completely blind to these strange aircraft slipping through their radar coverage. The F-117's precision was equally revolutionary, using laser-guided bombs delivered from its internal weapons bay to maintain stealth. The Nighthawk could place weapons through specific windows or ventilation shafts of buildings. This pinpoint accuracy fundamentally changed military planners' approach to strategic bombing, shifting from using many aircraft to carpet bomb an area to using a single stealth aircraft to take out critical nodes with minimal collateral damage. Perhaps the most remarkable aspect of the F-117 is that it achieved these revolutionary capabilities using 1970s technology. The aircraft's development predated modern computational fluid dynamics, advanced composite materials, and sophisticated computer-aided design tools. Engineers had to rely on slide rules, early computers, and physical testing to create an aircraft that completely transformed warfare. The F-117 Nighthawk stands as the ultimate example of how innovative thinking can overcome seemingly insurmountable physical limitations. By questioning fundamental assumptions about aircraft design and embracing radical new approaches, engineers created a machine that seemed to violate the basic laws of physics, yet proved to be one of the most effective military aircraft ever built. From the faceted stealth of the F-117 to the super maneuverability of the F-22, these 10 remarkable aircraft represent the absolute pinnacle of American aerospace engineering and military might. They stand as testaments to human ingenuity and the relentless pursuit of what seems impossible. While these jets don't truly defy physics, they operate firmly within physical laws. They push the boundaries of what we thought possible and exploit aspects of physics that previous generations of engineers couldn't even imagine. The story of these aircraft is ultimately a human story, one of test pilots willing to risk their lives, engineers solving seemingly impossible problems, and a nation committed to maintaining air superiority through technological innovation. If you've enjoyed this journey through America's most incredible military aircraft, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. We bring you fascinating content like this every week, exploring the remarkable machines and technologies that shape our world. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep looking up. You never know what extraordinary aircraft might be flying overhead, silently defying what we thought were the limitations of flight.